What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of In This Very Ring, right here, live on HUGRadio.com. We are brought to you by our doc, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. Check him out on the web at specializedphysicaltherapy.com, or it is 3 locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. Also, the guys at Ambuck, shut up. It's been a long week, okay? So I messed up a read one time. All right? The gutter guys over at Ambuck Services, they are the gutter and deck experts of South Jersey. Call them at 856-879-5530. Tell them HUD sent you, and they will get you all set up. Gentlemen, as always, we appreciate Chrome from Lazy Booking joining us. Chrome, how is your vacation, sir?
Good, man. Here in Florida, waiting for a tropical storm to hit. Hope I can get home on Monday, but
I don't think you'd complain if you got stuck there.
Well, in the middle of a tropical storm, that shit would suck.
I still don't think you'd complain.
Yeah, well, we'll see, buddy. But things have been good. It's been fun. The weather's been nice. I got to hit some Disney and all that good stuff. So, getting in my last little shots before I got to go home and quarantine for 14 days.
Fair enough. And the U.S. champ himself, Butters. What's going on?
Nothing much.
That was loud and annoying.
Well, I got to get used to the mic now. Come on now.
And I am the commissioner. I am Ritz. Gentlemen, it is 3 weeks away. No, let me math for a minute. Yeah, we're like 3 weeks away from SummerSlam.
Oh, boy.
Okay, SummerSlam is the next big pay-per-view here for the WWE. And as on the road to SummerSlam, we had a huge ending to Smackdown last night. The poll question, it's brought to you by QB54. Check them out at playqb54.com. Use the promo code, what is it, No Notes, Chrome?
I think.
Yeah, we're going to go with that. At least I kind of know the reads. All right. Poll question. Alexa Bliss is coming back as Sister Abigail. If you missed the ending to SmackDown last night, my God, ladies and gentlemen, well, actually, there's not a single woman that watches this show. It's all gentlemen.
Hey, you never know. They're probably just secretly watching.
Hey, man, I go by the chat.
Maybe they watch and they just don't want to, get harassed. Who knows?
I don't even know. Okay, anyway, moving on. Bray Wyatt came out at the end of SmackDown last night, and he stalked Alexa Bliss while she was in the ring, and then put on the mandible claw as it went to black. So the question is Alexa Bliss coming back as Sister Abigail? Agree, disagree? We're going to start with our guest, Heel Chrome. What do you think?
I'm gonna hope. I'm gonna say disagree because.
What the hell was that? Ralph, you bastard!
What the hell was that?
Ryan, Frank, somebody's got way too much damn time on their hands. Thank you, bro.
I think you broke him. I don't want to go to sleep anymore.
Often. I'm gonna see. That's a nightmare. That's an.
I don't want to go to sleep.
Nightmare.
You're all gonna dream about that. Enjoy.
I don't want to go to sleep. Screw you, Ralphie.
Side note, guys. There is one female watching the show, and that would be my girlfriend, who just messaged me and said, "See, I'm the only girl that watches your show." But there is one.
I'll take one.
I'll take it.
I
may never come back after that video, but I'll take one.
I don't know that I'm ever gonna get over what I just saw. But
you try being me.
I couldn't tell if it was you or a mixture of you and somebody else.
That was horrendous. I gotta say, guys, I'm gonna say disagree for the simple fact that I'm just hoping that I don't really see the need for a Sister Abigail when we're not just having the pure Bray Wyatt, kind of out, backwoods character, like full force. Doesn't really make sense to me. I think that, there's other avenues that they can go with this in terms of, finding ways to get to Braun, the mental game, the mind games, and everything like that. I don't think they need that. Plus, I think that there's other people. Yeah, exactly, Ryan Brodo. Exactly. Plus, I think that there's, there would be better candidates for a Sister Abigail. And I also don't believe that that's going to happen because they're clearly planting the seeds for something between Nikki. Oh,
destroy all the electronics in the house.
I had a wonderful vacation, and my vacation is now ruined.
I can never look at Victoria's Secret the same way again.
Hi, Don Don. Welcome to hell.
Yeah. They're planting the seeds for the Alexa Nikki, split, and it looks to me like Nikki might be the one who's going to turn heel here. So I disagree. I think that there's just too many other factors, and I think it's just unnecessary. So yeah, I disagree.
Butters?
I'm going to say the same thing. I got to disagree. I feel like it's more of the Fiend trying to get to Braun through friends and family. So why not start with Alexa while she's all alone in the ring? I mean, you got that horror story vibe going with it. I mean, she put on a hell of an acting show with that, her look. So, I mean, I got to disagree. I don't see Sister Abigail being a thing brought in anymore. I think if they were to do that, they could have done that with the Wyatt family itself. Why bring it in now with just the Fiend? That's something that should have been a long time ago. So now I just say it's just a way to get to Braun Strowman and get him to, show back up, save your girl, do something, be a man.
I have to agree in the sense that, so I'm not agreeing to the poll question. I have to agree with what Butters said in the sense that it is a long overdue if they were to go down this route, right? This is something that should have been done years ago. We had called for it years ago during the height of Bray's popularity, and especially more towards the Bray Randy Orton thing that was going on, for them to kind of have some sort of Sister Abigail character. We always referenced it. It's always talked about, but never, what's the word I'm looking for? I honestly don't know what the word materialized. They never materialized into anybody, right? So do I think she's coming back as Sister Abigail? Realistically, no, I don't. Right? There's a small part of me that says it would be really cool to see Alexa kind of expand more into that twisted role, especially with the Fiend and have her side with the Fiend and this, that, and the other thing. But they don't need that aspect for this storyline. Mike chiming in, what if Nikki is Sister Abigail and the Fiend's trying to help her? I don't see that playing out, right? Because you don't need a Sister Abigail for this story.
It'd be interesting only in the fact that before Nikki debuted, there was talks of, having Nikki debut as Sister Abigail.
Correct. I do remember that, and that was something.
So, I mean, you could almost go down that
twist.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Tie all things together, and I mean, if they're going to go with a Sister Abigail, which again I think that is totally unnecessary now. Maybe that's the twist where you can tie in the dissension between Nikki and Alexa at this point, and kind of using Alexa as a pawn against Braun. Maybe that's the big surprise of it, is that Nikki ends up being Sister Abigail after all.
That's definitely an interesting twist to take on it. I still, and don't get me wrong, right? I wrote the poll question today, but I wrote it solely based on social media. Thank you very much. Solely based on what I saw on social media after last night, right? And how it was just blowing up with rumors, because it started immediately, right? The video's got like 1 million views, had 1 million views this morning, not even 12 hours removed from it going on the air. So it was a huge segment for SmackDown. It was a huge segment for that storyline, but you don't need a Sister Abigail. I don't think you need any other element to it. Does the attack on Alexa Bliss make sense? Yes. Because if you really go back and think about who are Braun's true friends that you've seen him be friendly with on screen, Alexa's been a big person that he's protected and, he's tagged with, and they did the Mixed Match Challenge, and you saw callback to that during the Wyatt Swamp match, Swamp fight, Swamp thing, whatever the hell we're calling it, from a few weeks ago on a horror show at Extreme Rules. So that's where they're playing off of that. I like, and you and I, Crow, had talked about it off stream about the continuity of it all, how it all kind of brought everything together. We're calling back to the old days of the Wyatt family while still keeping our foot here. Now, if Bray Wyatt came out and attacked Alexa Bliss, like OG Bray Wyatt, then we have a totally different conversation. But this was The Fiend, right? Here's a question. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Here's a neat idea. What if Alexa Bliss becomes a puppet in the Funhouse?
I don't like that at all.
That would just make the storyline Bray has to, fight the Fiend to bring, Alexa back from being a puppet. It's, in a sense, the puppets are, the souls of the people the Fiend is taken. So, that would be, in a sense where you could go with that, but it'd be interesting to see. They'd have to do it right. This is the problem. They'd have to do it right, and they tend to drop the ball on everything lately.
I mean, I go out on the limb saying that I think it could happen because you're at the point where here we are. It's been 4 months since there's been a crowd at a WWE show. You're going to have to get more creative, like we've talked about, because the product does get stale. The product's at a point right now where it's kind of stale, just in the grand scheme of things. And that would be something different. That'd be something different you could play out in different cinematics and vignettes and things of that nature, to keep people entertained, right? I think during this time, you're gonna need to get more creative. That's the only reason why I see it coming, it happening, right? It'd be hey, we're trying something different, going down a different creative route with this.
Well, the problem isn't so much the creative factor. You've got writers that are creative as hell. It's getting that creative past Vince.
I could see Vince being all for that. He's done dumber shit.
He's still doing dumb shit.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this character, particularly Vince, is kind of just let the creative process play out. So I don't think he's really negating much of anything on when it comes to this character and everything.
Shut up, Brodo.
That's probably he's not wrong though.
What is that?
Who is that?
I think that's you, Chrome.
That ain't me, buddy. I know my face.
Who the hell was that?
I don't know who that was. Was that Butters with a shaved beard?
No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. By the way, Butters, shout out to the new mic and headset, buddy. I can hear you. I love it. Nice. You may have had it for a couple of weeks. I've been gone.
Who the hell? I'm lost.
I don't know what Ralphie's doing.
I picked it up last week.
Ralphie's
I picked it up before the show last week.
Well, it's good stuff, buddy. I'm proud of you.
Moving on up.
No,
right?
But yeah, no, I just don't like the ideas of the over. To me, it's all overbooking it. They don't need it. She could be a catalyst, particularly because of her inclusion in the previous Swamp match. That being said, yeah, it looks to me as though SummerSlam's going to be the blow off of this. It's, for all intents and purposes, even though we don't know if we had a technical winner at the end of the Swamp match, it was pretty clear that Bray was the winner in that.
Yeah, wait, we have the chat chiming in. Apparently, Chrome, that is you.
That can't. Well, where did you get them pictures? Show it again. That's definitely not me. Sorry, guys, that's not me.
No, I think it has to. I think it has to do with they had to. I think they had to crop the face a little bit to make it a little skinnier on the face.
Well,
to
it's
fit
not
the...
insulting because it doesn't look like me.
What the hell happened? See, this is the thing, right? Here it in this very ring, it goes off the rails before we even get started.
You don't need to do that, boys. I'll just dance for you right here. I don't care.
And we got thrown off the air. Look at that.
No, I don't think. I just don't think you need that, guys. That's just me. I think that it's way too overthinking, and I don't think that there's enough over the top creative booking with this, and I don't think the Alexa character needs to be changed. I think that if anything, maybe turn her back to a heel character, but I don't see this being much more than just a mind game for Braun.
Right.
And it's a good twist, too, by the way, because she was utilized in a different way to play mind games with Braun. Now you take that twist in a whole different capacity with the Fiend here, and and we talked about this before, boys. It's nice to see some storyline continuity going back into the past with something that makes sense over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's pick and choose what we're gonna, what we're gonna remember,
what's canon and what's not.
Revisionist
Right.
history happens quite a bit in professional wrestling, so it's nice to see some storyline continuity for sure.
For real. Frank says, I feel like somewhere in a distant future, someone has probably wrote a fanfic of the Andy and Chrome videos. God damn it, Frank. Get a hobby. Get out. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's some scary fanfic.
That's horrifying. Edie Zahari said, most fans, not me, think that the Fiend crossed the line when he attacked Alexa Bliss with the mandible claw because she's a woman. I don't see them, and I swear to God, I'm decoding all of this. I don't think, no, here we go. I don't think them see Attitude Era that women wrestler can be attacked by male wrestler. What are your thoughts? Also, it's the most gentle mandible claw ever. Yeah, he was super gentle last night, and I'm like, I watched it and I had to watch it back again. I was like, he just went. There's no right.
Does it have to do with all of her recent issues with concussions and everything else, just to be on the safe side, or is it because she's a woman, and he's given the mandible claw? He don't know how hard to really,
I think some of it just has to play in that she's never had to take that move, right? So I think some of it's just taking the move and also being safe about it, right?
I mean, it's not like a most vicious pounding move onto somebody.
No, absolutely not, right? But
no.
I just work here.
I think because it is, male violence on a female, that they're not going to sit there and go all out. We're not putting Mae Young through tables off of a stage. Those days are in the past. I heard a reference back to the Attitude Era days. I think pro wrestling now seems to be making a transition. Listen, if you watch all the rest of them, all these other organizations are doing it. WWE, dabbles and picks and chooses its moments. We saw what Baron Corbin did to Becky Lynch back at Extreme Rules of last year, right? Yes. And that was a shocking moment. It's not an everyday or an every week thing that we're seeing. But we've seen, we just watched a woman be Impact World Champion and constantly wrestle and fight men. So, we got to remember in terms of the storyline or the characters, the Fiend he's not a man. He's a creature. He's this, unearthly kind of a character. So you kind of just have to look at it that way, remove yourself from looking at it as, a guy going after a girl or this and that. And, again, we didn't see a vicious beatdown. He put the mandible claw on her. And, if it was something we're seeing regularly, I don't think I would really, I don't care for that, obviously. But, in terms of the story and how it fit here, I didn't see anything incredibly wrong with it. It wasn't a high risk kind of a situation there. If anything, that's probably the most delicate and easy way that you can have an interaction between male and female.
I completely agree. I saw nothing wrong with it. All right, so so Ricky and Edie are both asking before I get into some other thoughts. Oh God, if SummerSlam's on a cruise ship, who's going to be eaten by sharks? If SummerSlam's on a cruise ship, I'm going to call it the dumbest thing they could ever do.
Why is that?
Well, because it's literally just saying, hey, you know what? Jericho has his cruise. We're going to do SummerSlam on a cruise ship and have nobody around.
Who cares?
What's the point of doing it if no one's around, though?
Because there's no guidelines that they have to follow if they're out in the water, like international water.
Exactly.
Uh,
But here's the thing, though. If they do it right, it'll be a good thing.
That's not the only possibility I've heard. I've heard on a beach, which I would love that, almost like the old school
Edie mentioned the beach.
Bash at the beach. I'd love that. I hope that honestly, it's the way I hope they go. But who said that Chris Jericho has the trademark on the cruise stuff? Like that's to me just idiot Mark stuff again. That's all. I have seen over the last couple of weeks, thank God, some of these AEW Mark truthers here who have been hardcore in WWE, who have finally come around and said AEW is supposed to be the alternative.
Hey!
Yo.
Shit, and if he's here, I'm out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the man of the hour, one of the OG FWO members. It is Mr. Pete Evans. What's going on, Pete?
Hey, man, I can't call it. Just happy to be here, A little tipsy off the bubbly.
Uh-oh.
A little bit of the bubbly. We were just talking about Jericho, actually. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
There might be a video of you.
Oh, my God.
Wait, that is Chrome. Wait a minute. That's Chrome in the eyes. And it's you, 100%, dude.
No, it's the beard. It is the beard. I could see that he took the beard. That's not my eyes, man. You see how my eyes are? My eyes are smaller, and my eyes aren't blue. They're blue in that freaking video. I don't know where they got it. And if they did do that, they distorted the shit out of it. It doesn't look like me. I'm happy to dance for you guys anyway. I don't need that.
Pete is so lost. Pete's like, you know what? I'm out, fam.
Am I in the right StreamYard room?
Getting weird up in here, man. Getting weird.
Welcome to the In This Very Ring Funhouse, apparently.
Getting weird?
Brodo says maybe they'll have an eaten by sharks match.
Something tells me to involve Baron Corbin again. He's already done it.
The sharks will be in on the King's Ransom. King Ransom again.
True.
Frank says, eaten by sharks, they can bring back John Tenta back from the dead and have him do the shark gimmick.
Jesus
Fuck.
Hey,
have John Tenta and Shark Boy just kind of swimming around in the water.
I was gonna say, bring in Shark Boy. Come on.
So, Pete, let's get your thoughts. What do you think of last night's segment to end SmackDown?
Oh, it was great. It was totally unexpected. And it gives them a couple different options where they can go, whether they want to turn Nikki into Sister Abigail or have Alexa still turn and be a la Harley Quinn to Fiend's Joker. You know what I mean? Just have him go ape shit crazy too. It'd be a crazy couple. But I will say this. I mean, listen, it's now 10:30 on Saturday night here on the East Coast. I have never been more into Alexa Bliss than I was last night. Oh my God.
Oh, this is gonna take another turn.
And then to come to find out that she's in the horror movies like that. Like, I'm not. But just that face, just that scene. I mean, dude, I didn't know what was about to happen. I thought maybe he was watching Skinemax or some shit. What
the hell is going on?
I'll tell you what. That was all truth and honesty. That was actually some really good acting, which we don't see a whole lot of.
Right.
Correct.
I have to say it was very well executed. I like your idea much better, Pete, than is Alexa Bliss going to be Sister Abigail? No, I did bring up, like you did, to kind of correlate the two storylines together, Nikki possibly ending up being Sister Abigail, which Butters, I think, or maybe it was Andy, talked about originally when she came from NXT that was something was talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something correlating that. But I like the idea that if you don't do that, you kind of go back to a little bit of that Alexa Bliss, Harley Quinn character that she had before, but amp it up and make it more evil with the Fiend. I could get into that.
I'm upset I didn't come up with that first.
Right?
Well, I'm not surprised that you didn't come up with that.
Shut up. Sorry, some of us have still had to work this week. We can't be sitting in Disney all week long.
Right?
It's hard work. Listen, it's a really, really hard week. Going to Disney, riding rides, drinking, sitting in a pool for 6 hours. Whew,
oh, the horrors! The horrors.
Must have been tough on you, Chrome.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
God, how are you still awake?
Man, somebody get this man a binky.
No, Ricky, that's a very good comment, but that's just the start. The start is Braun. The end game can be Bliss and Braun being really a Joker and Harley Quinn type couple. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Alexa Bliss, but this is where somebody like Liv Morgan would have came in because she was doing the Harley Quinn shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? You could have kept Alexa and Nikki separate and used this to elevate Liv just to go apeshit crazy. I mean, in essence, if they really wanted to, they really can go still Nikki's sister Abigail, and then Alexa Bliss is just along for the ride, and then she just gets hooked. She fights it, and ultimately succumbs to it. And then, I mean, you probably won't have two females holding all the straps again like we have right now, just because hopefully we're out of the pandemic in that case. But you could see something like that where you really have Sister Abigail, Fiend, and you can have Alexa Bliss as well. And then me personally, I still don't know why the Fiend, why Bray says that you have something that the Fiend wants. I don't want him to want the Universal Championship. You don't need a strap. What do you need the belt for? You should just be ready to wreak havoc and chaos and amongst that, because then ultimately when you have the strap, that means someone has to beat you. And I don't see anybody on the SmackDown roster right now that they can build up enough to beat him. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, once again, it's WWE booking backing themselves into a corner.
But are they?
I mean, you got Big E.
Yeah.
He's not going to beat him, though. Let's be real. To me, I believe that, this is going to be a long run for the Fiend.
Okay.
B, I believe that this is going to be the road to Roman coming back and taking the title at some point. Yeah. I think that's the only person that's going to be able to take it off. Because we know Otis ain't beating the Fiend. He ain't cashing in on the Fiend and winning. Let's be real.
I will die laughing. I will FaceTime you. You understand me? I will FaceTime you live on the air and laugh at you.
Well,
if that happens.
I will tell you right now, and you can mark my words. Document it, point it, 28 minutes and give or take 37 seconds. If Otis beats the Fiend, I will officially be done with current product professional wrestling. Lazy booking will never mention anything current. I will be done and only do throwback wrestling shows.
Wait, I thought
other than WrestleMania, because I will be done with it. Because they will have assassinated the Fiend character by having Otis go over on him. And that to me is unacceptable.
It wouldn't be the first time they've assassinated a character.
Yeah, but this is not a character.
Ralphie Crow. Go watch your Crumb Lakers, you dirtbag.
By the way, PSA for those who may be basketball fans, the Sixers still can't guard a combo guard. Just if you didn't know.
I don't know what you just said, but okay, that works.
Don't worry. Somebody that's never had a 50-point game in their career just put up 53 or 54 against the Sixers.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. Andy, you can score on them right now. It's ridiculous.
Thanks, I think. I don't know if I should be insulted or not.
Well,
little column A, little column B.
And you're not very good. So I mean that still sets the benchmark there.
How the hell would you know?
I'm fairly confident in that statement.
Oh, are you now? Okay.
Now, could you see at SummerSlam where we kind of have just Fiend and Braun just go all out? Because you can't really have the Fiend go over Braun easy. Like, it can't be a squash. And then maybe
Andrew
you can
makes
see
a good
Otis,
point, by the way.
Otis cash in there.
Yeah, that's to Andrew's point. Otis doesn't have to beat the Fiend.
Right.
Someone else could knock him out, and Otis could cash in.
Yes,
Or go ahead.
but I said, yeah, but then we're going to get the red light situation where he's going to cash in, but the Fiend's still going to, kick out, 20 million times. I mean,
Or we saw this happen at WrestleMania 31. Why can't he cash in the middle of the match and pin Braun?
Yep.
And then win the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Fuck
In
you,
fairness,
Andrew.
though, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see any way that Otis is a successful Money in the Bank cash-in. I'm sorry. It's a great story, guys. It's been fun. I think we're starting to jump the shark a little bit with everything this week. I'm not a fan of that we're still doing this Sonya and Mandy stuff. I'm kind of over it already. So
I'm not a fan of the angle, but the brutality and the physicality of what they did Friday was nice.
Agreed.
Right.
They did finally take it to that next level.
Agreed, but I mean,
Sonya's going all Victoria on her.
Maybe I'm just like an overthinker.
Numb, dead.
But why is there a buzzer, a hair clipper next to Mandy Rose?
Manscaping, man. I don't know. I can't tell you.
Well, ironically enough,
stop.
Ironically enough, there's scissors and a clipper.
Hold on. No. We're not glazing over
perfect,
that.
Guys.
Back up.
Perfect.
How are you gonna? No. No. How are you gonna sit there and say it's next to Mandy Rose for manscaping? Get the fuck out of here!
Hey man, if you follow her TikTok, she got muscles. She got stronger legs and more definition than all four of us combined in her legs.
Well, yeah, because she goes outside more than all four of us combined.
Wait.
I mean,
who's some sexy legs? There's some muscle there.
I didn't realize this is
as the whole thing jiggles more than flubber.
I didn't realize this was a leg show.
Muscle, baby.
Who's to say that's not a hint for, like, say, maybe a hair versus hair match?
Could be.
Oh, God.
No.
See, I think what the women's division is missing is they're really missing a secondary singles title. Because this was a feud against for a secondary singles title in the women's division, which they have enough women to use to be able to do that. That would make it mean more. But when it's just
technically they have a secondary women's title, but again,
he
all
said
the women's
singles title, you putz.
I didn't hear that part, you ditz.
It's like two brothers fighting.
But you didn't hear that part, but when you started talking, you said, well, technically they have a secondary singles title. You used the word singles in there, Butters.
My brain is not functioning right now.
It never functions!
Oh, this is a blast.
I mean, damn it!
Okay, what I meant to say is technically they do have a secondary set of titles.
Yeah, but, never get used. That never ever get used. It's held by Bayley and Sasha Banks for no god blessed reason.
All the titles, Bayley and Sasha Banks are holding all the women's titles except for the NXT.
Okay, though.
Well, they're going back to the what was the name of the angle they did with Triple H in Austin back then?
2-man power trip.
They're doing the 2-woman power trip at this point.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I'm in a weird box to where I have a massive love-hate thing for it because I'm just kind of over this. Like, when can we get to the end of these two, please? I can't take it anymore.
Vaccination is available.
Right. What comes first?
I was going to say euthanization, but okay.
the successful vaccination or Sasha and Bailey break up. I'm putting my money behind finding a successful vaccine, by the way.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, I want to see how the 2-woman power trip storyline ends, because we never did get to see the conclusion with Triple H and Hunter. So I'm intrigued by it. But at the same time, I don't see why these 2 women need to hold every title.
But see, go ahead, Butters.
And this is the thing, and this is where I keep heading, and I keep seeing it, and I don't want to see it, but you say you want to see it like an ending like the 2-man power trip. Who's to say this doesn't end, unfortunately? I know he's going to get mad when I say this, but at WrestleMania.
I can see that.
Like the 2-woman power trip or Sasha and Bailey?
No, Sasha, the whole thing between them two,
who's
going through till WrestleMania.
So who's to say that it's not going to happen? It's because we've been waiting for 3 or 4 years at this point for it to happen. It still hasn't. So you could tell me it's tomorrow. You could tell me it's 3 more years from now, and I still won't believe you, because they give me no reason to believe that I'm ever going to see the end of this, even though they're going to keep teasing to me that it's coming.
This is like the song that never ends.
This is Lamb Chop.
Yes.
Wait.
And the thing is, the worst part about it is I can put money on it now. This, whatever the blow off is for this, whenever we get Sasha and Bailey, whenever it is, part 2, it won't be as good as TakeOver.
No, absolutely not.
That's the sad part. But also, I will say this, to their credit, obviously the women's titles, the single titles, SmackDown Women's, Raw Women's have had more prestige. But I will say this for the tag belts. The tag belts haven't had this much cred since they held it the first time. And that's not to say because of the Iconics and Kabuki Warriors, they didn't elevate the title. It's just whatever they did with the booking. But these tag titles now are relevant. Whoever beats them, because they probably will lose the tag titles first. Whoever beats them for the tag titles, hopefully, if WWE doesn't pick it up like they usually do, they book it and they book it right, and it's the team then gets elevated from there, because that's what worries me. Is these tag titles, if once they come off of them, then they'll go back into
obscurity.
Obscurity once again.
But who takes them off?
The problem is these titles have only been between 4 teams the entire time. We've had many teams come through. Sonya, Mandy. Right now, we might possibly see Natty and frickin' Lana. We see plenty of teams. But it's only been through 4 different teams back and forth.
Right. But
do we have another team? Like, is there another women's tag team, like outside of the Iconics, that's billed as a tag team? Or is it just regular women's single wrestlers that you just put together? Like, that's the one thing about Sasha and Bailey. Even though there are 2 single wrestlers that have been put together, their friendship has been long touted. Like, we don't have that connection with. And if you put Natty and Lana together, what's the draw? You know what I mean? I can see maybe they may have a chance if they put Bianca and Naomi together, but on 2 separate shows.
I can see them putting Bianca and Ruby together before they put Bianca and Naomi together,
or even Ruby and Liv. I feel like they're teasing that get back together thing. I mean, we could see that as a potential tag team again.
I don't have an issue with the fact that the title is only maybe a year and a half old.
Yeah, it was
4
Elimination Chamber last year.
Like 4 teams to have that title, to me that's a lot of title changes in my opinion. I mean, maybe I'm old. Maybe I come up in the day when guys held titles for 2 and 3 years. I mean, Hogan held the title for how long, Pete? Off the top of your head, can you think?
I mean, 3 years?
84 to 87, right?
84 to 87, yeah.
Right. I mean, I remember those days when guys were holding titles when a short title reign was 7, 9, 8 months, 10 months. That was a short title reign. Now we have guys the title flip-flops repeatedly. So I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with the fact that we're not doing enough to build and create suitable challengers so that when the title, you know what I mean, and new programs. So, I almost miss those days. I've said it 100 times. I'll say it again. Eric Bischoff, in a lot of ways, I think hurt creative in professional wrestling by upping it to 12 pay-per-views and forcing professional wrestling to do that, because the ability to develop a storyline over a period of time, like back in '87 when Hogan and Andre were going to happen. That was months in the making to get to that. You know, you were able to do that. Nowadays, everything is hot-shotted or overexposed. And unfortunately now it's creating issues where they're not being able to do enough character development because it's like sitcoms now, right? Back in the day, you know, they would stick with stuff and then maybe the first, second season things would pick up and you'd have these amazing sitcoms that would happen. Nowadays, they run the pilot, you might get 3 episodes and they pull that shit immediately if they don't get the reaction they want. Now we're seeing that in the professional wrestling industry. If these characters don't click right away, they're pulling it.
Because it's all instant gratification. Because you have social media.
Turn. Lacey as a face. I liked Lacey as a face. It's a different case. Now suddenly she just out of nowhere. Now she's everybody's nasties and forget her kid and the model mother she was for her kid.
Yeah.
It's like they did the female Bobby Lashley, Pete. When Bobby Lashley came in, it was, hey, he's the All-American this and this. And then immediately they turned, well, I mean, the sister thing was terrible. But they turned it over. They immediately pulled back off of that. And look at what they're doing now with Lacey. It's almost like a mirror image of what happened with Bobby Lashley when he came in. And that's the problem. There's no patience to allow storyline development. Back in the 80s and 90s, when you didn't have all these pay-per-views and these events and all this television, you were able to develop characters.
I don't even think it's that. I do think that social media plays a huge role in this because now we're so instant gratification to where I can hit a button right now on my tablet, put something out there on social media, and within 5 minutes, instantly get reactions from my friends and feedback from people around me. Right? I mean, even this show, the fact that we have these comments on the screen, such as Edie's, Sasha Banks versus Bayley will only happen with a live audience. And that's when Sasha will win the title from Bayley and hold it for a long time. You know, the fact that we can do this show and get these kind of comments, right? I know none of us here want to see that happen. What are y'all's thoughts on WWE canceling Evolution 2 and replacing it with either a Payback pay-per-view or King of the Ring pay-per-view and having it a week after SummerSlam?
Did they cancel Evolution 2?
I know that there was talks of it being canceled, but I didn't hear anything a week after SummerSlam. God, no.
Yes, so the talk that I heard this week was they're bringing back Payback a week after SummerSlam, a week or 2 after SummerSlam. They're not even waiting; they're just throwing it in there a week or 2 after SummerSlam. Done.
So that means somebody is crossing somebody somewhere. Now I will say this though, I mean not to diverge from the Sasha Bayley thing. They can protect them right now with the women's straps. Just had them wrestle tag team matches now. That's how you build a tag team. They had the tag team titles. Use them you already using them on every show, damn near NXT as well. Just have them wrestle tag team matches. That's how you build them. Build up a Bianca. I would love to see Sasha Bayley versus Bianca and Ruby. You know what I mean? Because at that point, you get something that's something different. It's just because ultimately we want to keep them away. I mean, you can't really do title for title. To me, Sasha versus Bayley is so much history there. I don't even need it to be for a title.
I don't want it for a title. I've been saying it from day one.
You know what I mean?
If we're doing this again, I want to that's why these empty arenas are so good because I want the blood feud. I want the fight. I don't want it for a title. You want the emotion. Yes, I want the emotion. I'd rather it be just for bragging rights and just pure gratification that I whooped your ass. I'm the better person, the better wrestler. Fuck the title. That doesn't mean anything. This is all about bragging rights.
We got that with Edge and Orton this year. I mean, where have those matches been? We don't get those much anymore.
No, because to Chrome's point, it's when you have 12 pay-per-views and the attention span of a viewer is now significantly shorter than what it was when I was watching back in the 80s, and Chrome can attest to this in the 90s, and even in the early 2000s, you have to have something fresh and new. So if you have to have something fresh and new, then just don't do it around. That's where all these titles came from, because you felt like you had to make it mean something. You had a European title, you had a hardcore title. And now now you don't have those subsidiary titles, so now you have your big titles, which don't mean shit.
Correct.
You make them mean less. I mean, the most memorable runs of any WWE champion thus far has all been Brock in the last 5 years. And that's just because he's just a monster heel. They could have had that with Braun the first time, but they booked it wrong.
Brock and AJ. I think AJ's was really good too.
Oh, AJ's was good
AJ's
too.
was a good run. But
Yep.
even Adam Cole's
Everybody
with
else
the
is
NXT
probably-
title was good.
You're right though. Yeah.
And I think the formula there is we didn't see it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and maybe it's controversial. I don't care.
Wouldn't stop you any other time.
As amazing of a moment as we had at WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan, that killed the creative process in professional wrestling just as much as anything else, because now everybody thinks that we're going to bitch and cry
You're going to
piss
get your
and
way.
moan, and we're going to get our way now.
Yep.
You got your way, and maybe rightfully so at that time, and everybody got what they wanted. So now we're in the era, and we talked about this fairly recently, me and Maddie on Lazy Booking, to where, I talked about Roman Reigns. Coming out of the Shield, everyone wanted Roman Reigns to be the guy. And then they got the guy, and then all of a sudden, Roman's being shoved down our throats. You asked for him, and guess what? Now he's shown that he can sell merch. So now whether you want him or not, you're going to get him because he's making the company money.
Right.
So, and that's what we saw it start to happen with Becky Lynch. We've seen it happen with Charlotte. People are like, we got to see more Charlotte because Charlotte is on a whole different level. She might be the best wrestling character and in-ring performer today, male or female. We heard that for a year. People got it, and I'm sick of seeing Charlotte. Becky Lynch. Whoa, Becky's got to win. She's the man. Yada, yada, yada. Now we're sick of seeing Becky Lynch. Seth Rollins. Now we're sick of seeing Seth Rollins. And so we're going to go on there. We're going to get behind our keyboards and the Twitter machine and everything else, and we're going to bitch and bitch and bitch because we want to get our way. It's the most annoying thing in the world. And that all stems back to Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30.
It's so hypocritical, bro.
It is. It's deeper than just wrestling at that point, right? It just goes to show that because everybody bitches and complains, and that's throughout life, right? You bitch enough, you're gonna get what you want. The companies are gonna fold for the masses. To give them what they want.
It's sad to say, but we're in that cancel culture now, and it's to the point where it's getting old. I'm getting tired of it. I'm tired of hearing, down with this, down with that. They said one thing wrong, or you pushing one too many people wrong. Like, give it up. Just let it run its course. Let's see how far it goes before we say something. Come on.
All that being said, the Sasha Bailey thing has completely run its course, and let's move on from it.
I agree.
Yeah, that shit ran its course years ago.
Right?
Yeah, you drop the tag straps and just keep them separate. Keep Sasha.
And you've had, and to Chrome's point, you've had so many opportunities to have one attack the other, and you can write that story so many different ways. And you have chosen time and time again to say, fuck it. We're going to keep going.
Now, this is one instance where you go for years and years with something, and now people have been pining for it. Maybe it is time to start listening to fans. Because I have to say, I've come around a little bit on Bayley. I think Bayley's doing some good things. Even maybe Sasha a little bit. I would actually like to see... I'd like to see Bayley stay the heel and Sasha turn around and be the face in this feud. I think that it can work, but I'm like at the point now where, I can't.
I think his hat's on a little too tight.
I can't even enjoy it a little bit. Butters, don't start running your mouth because you finally got a fucking headset, okay, buddy? Shut yourself over there.
Jesus. Only if Chrome had hair, he'd probably flip it right now.
Oh man, I would.
But no,
I told him they got to run those videos. I'll dance.
I'm completely on the opposite side. I'd rather see Bayley as the face, and I want Sasha to get back to that diva ass heel. because she's
No.
never had the opportunity to. You remember Takeover Brooklyn when she came out? She came out in the stretch Escalade and had all the bodyguards around her. We have yet to see that bitchy diva Sasha as a
we kind of
heel.
saw it.
But you saw it though. You've seen it throughout most of her main roster run, and even towards the end of that, because she was the bitch in that scenario. In that entire match, she played the heel, the super bitch. Right now, it's time for her to play the face. Even though Bayley sucks at being the heel.
Right.
Okay. I don't like Bayley as a heel.
Really? Because I am
don't.
coming around big time on Bayley.
I'm not.
I mean, I'm like, this is some of her best work. I mean,
I can't get behind it.
Well, you are in the minority for that, buddy, because I think the fact that I'm coming around on that should tell you a lot.
See, I like Bayley better as a face.
You like the role model on the hugger? The fucking Bayley buddies?
Better than this?
Oh, you're
Nah.
You're ridiculous.
The golden role models are their best work right now. Come on now.
It's their best work. Best work.
No, Bayley is finally starting to find her niche and getting on a whole different level. Character-wise. To me, she's still the same in-ring worker. Doesn't really do anything. Although I love the shit-talking she does. Yes. The fact that I don't think this character, when there was crowds, I couldn't get into it. But the fact that there isn't crowds and you can hear all the nuances of things and then be totally pains in the asses when they come out. And the stuff that they are allowing them to do on commentary over the last 2 months has developed that character so much that in ways that it would have never been able to happen if there was a crowd. And I think that that's one of the good things. I'm kind of running my course of wrestling with this minimal crowd stuff as it is. I mean, I'm glad they're doing something, but at the same time, these are the things, the characters that are developing that I'm appreciating a little bit more. And I have to say, listen, I came around on the Young Bucks after years. It's okay to come around on people. I'm not saying I was wrong before, but she's doing a great job now, and I can't not give her credit for that.
And I'm not saying that
she's ever done.
And I'm not saying that there's not a chance that I can, right? It's just in the moment, right now, I'm not with it.
I don't see
she's
what
like
you can't
a win
see,
at
though.
all cost heel now. Like she'll cut every corner. It doesn't matter. She just wants to She just wants to win. She just wants to win.
No,
I can see your point too, Andy. But
I don't vibe. We've talked about this before, right? I just don't vibe with the character.
See,
the way you feel about her is the way I felt about Becky.
But see, I'm okay with him saying that, Pete. I don't vibe with the character. But when you tell me that the hugger is better than this character, you lose your credibility.
All right, now to be fair,
said, you know what, I'm not a fan of either one. This is better, but I'm just not buying in. I'm in with you then. I understand.
To be fair,
I just don't like the character.
I just said it to get a rise.
You didn't do it. No,
No, hold on. Shut up. Because I was there. I was a proponent of Bayley turning heel. I was driving that ship that said Bayley needs to kill the Bayley. I was right there with Ryan Brodo when he said, let's murder the Bayley buddies live on TV. And when it happened, I couldn't have been happier.
That has no bearing to the argument now. I just can't get behind this character. Now I think the hugger is better. You got called out, and now you're trying to...
you moron!
Let me ask you a question. Who's the one who's getting risen up right now? It's the dude in the top corner with no fucking hair. That's
because I have high blood pressure anyway.
You wanted to rise. You rise yourself, homeboy.
After I get off work, I'm still edgy.
They got CBD for that, man. All right, so I think we spent way too much time on Sasha and Bayley.
We spend too much time on Sasha and Bayley every week.
We really do. It's literally the thing that just stops this show in its tracks is Sasha Bayley.
And that's the sad part because this is going to keep going every week. Sasha and Bayley. Oh, my God.
I mean, we can transition to Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax if you'd like.
Oh, no, please not.
I mean,
the land of lost toys.
It's the Island of Misfit Toys, bro.
Well,
Get it right.
I'd like to be original. I don't like to requote other people. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, they remind me of loose change that you find in the couch after you sell it.
True.
You know what I mean?
Or do you want to talk about Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio?
No, please, no.
Oh, you mean Dominic?
I feel so bad for fucking
Although,
Seth, man.
I will say Dominic was swinging for the fences Monday night with that kendo stick.
I'll say I'm pretty impressed when he is involved. I don't like to...
Shut up, Damien.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty funny comment.
That's a great comment, but shut up, man.
Although I'm not a fan of the storyline, I've been impressed with Dominic's contributions to the story.
Correct.
I'll leave it at that.
I think the kid's done great.
Yes.
Yep.
I did see WWE trolled on him, though. They posted a video of when Eddie said that he was Dominic's father and was like, it's been a really rough 15 years for Dominic or something like that. I was like,
Oh my God. The internet's fucking brutal.
It was WWE. It wasn't even the internet.
WWE themselves did it.
Yes.
Jesus. See, that's what happens, Ray, when you're working on a week-to-week contract. You don't want to commit because you keep asking for more money in a pandemic.
But here's the thing. They can afford it. They made freaking $40+ million in the last quarter.
Yeah.
They were expecting around $14 million.
I think it was 11 to 12. It was even less than that.
Oh yeah, 11 to 12. That's what they were expecting. They banked $40 million plus, so they could give somebody some money. They could work somebody. They didn't have to release all those people. All that money came in before they released all the people.
I wouldn't say they wouldn't have to release them all, though, Butters. I mean, think some of them probably benefit from being released. I would tell you right now, like me, just with the Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black, and that whole smorgasbord eye-popping out thing, it would have been more beneficial. We talked about building characters, right? Long term, to have Aleister and Buddy switch places. You have Aleister with Seth, because Buddy was a nobody. Now you have him chasing. You have him coming to the aid of Rey Mysterio, because ultimately, to me, Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio, what the fuck do they have in common? What do they have in common?
Nothing, but I think they set it up with Aleister trying to be like I don't want to say vigilante, because that is the absolutely
Aleister
wrong word.
rises up like this, and Seth is calling himself a cult leader. Like, you see my hands, right? He rises up like this. The dude with all the tattoos, devil tattoos, horns, and all this other shit that he has, and you got a dude who's calling himself the Messiah Monday night. I mean, I can't write this shit, and it's right there in front of him, because I mean, you're not elevating Buddy and Kevin and KO just did the pre-show for Extreme Rules.
Like, I know, it's pretty terrible.
You see what I'm saying? Like, how is he advancing it all?
You know what though, Pete? The argument I'll make against Aleister joining Seth is, I feel like it's, unlike Buddy, who having someone who's the leader and the figurehead to kind of learn and groom from, I think that's beneficial for him. Aleister's character, I don't think in the long run having him do the bidding for someone else is beneficial to the character, because I think it's so unique. If he's picking up for somebody else, right? It's like they're not a stable. Ray isn't the leader of this stable. It's hey, I'm picking up for my buddy, as opposed to I'm doing the bidding for Seth Rollins, who is my leader. I think it's two totally different things, and I think that's why it doesn't work for Aleister, but it does work for Buddy. Buddy was lost. Buddy didn't have it together, but we know how talented Buddy is. So he needed that guy to come in and say, I will pick you up and I will help you find the path to success. You just have to do my bidding for me to get there.
I think for Aleister, it's not necessarily that him and Mysterio are buddies even. I think it's more of a respect thing. This is a veteran of the business, and this is Aleister coming out to protect that veteran, right?
Yeah.
I think that now I don't like how they had Aleister kind of eat the stairs Monday night. I think that was
this eye shit needs to stop.
It really does. It really does. And because there's talks of Aleister going away for a little bit, and coming back different, repackaged. And if that's the case, I don't know if I'm gonna like it.
What's he gonna do?
Well,
Come back as a fucking pirate?
Shut
Arg,
up!
I
They
lost
tried
me
that once
eye.
already.
Remember
Shut
when
They
he
tried
first
that like
debuted?
multiple times
He was
already.
black masking everyone. He was like
Well-
He was everybody. Didn't matter size.
Everybody ate heel.
Yeah,
Well,
you
listen.
know what I mean.
I mean, Kyrie's gone now, so they do have an opening in the pirate
Stop it.
gimmick category.
Oh no, knock it off.
Listen, here's what I'll say.
Arg, me eye. Arg.
What needs to happen with him is he needs to come back as a heel.
Yes,
He needs to come
Yes.
back as a heel and just run through people.
Yep.
Or, I mean, even if he's a heel who goes after the heel Seth Rollins for revenge, or he's a tweener, he has to be a guy who's an edge, who's on his own. And
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you're a good guy, you're a bad guy. I'm just a badass dude like The Undertaker used to do. Undertaker would go against heels. He'd go against faces. Didn't matter. He's got an opportunity to be almost like a next level, the next generation Undertaker. I mean, I know we talk about the Fiend and stuff, but I look at that now, seeing how that's developing, is he's more of the generation's Mick Foley. I think
Yes.
Alistair,
Correct.
less talking, more badass in the ring, could be that guy. Maybe you get a mouthpiece for him at some point, similar to how The Undertaker
Like-
had Paul Bear.
His wife. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, how her on TV persona.
I'm glad you said that because her real life persona is more in line with what his on air persona
I know, it's
It's so-
crazy.
Yo,
But
I'm telling you.
her TV persona, I can't even figure out how you would twist that. Like it's almost. I mean, I guess they did it with Scarlett Bordeaux. If you know what Scarlett was beforehand,
I think
to where-
everybody knows what Scarlett was beforehand.
but that, I mean, that's the type of person that he needs. Maybe they can figure out to get a way to get her that similar. I don't know.
But
Should be
so,
great. You're right, Pete, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
What I
Not for
should have
that.
said is Alistair. They should have kept Alistair as far away from this shit show as possible. Don't have him stick up for Ray. Don't have him with Seth. Just have him on his own, still black masking people.
So
But see, and that's what they need to go back to, right? I like Chrome's idea. Have him come back as the heel, have him come back as a tweener, whatever, right? Have him come back and just start kicking people's heads off for no reason,
Yeah,
right? Like, you're in the ring, you're taking up my TV time, get out of the ring, I'm kicking your head off.
he can be black masking people in the performance center. Like it doesn't have to be in the ring.
Yeah,
That kick-
just
that
walking
kick- you
through,
can
like
pull that
like
kick off
the
anywhere.
like when Sean super kicks Ty Dillinger back in the day, right? You know, when he was Stan, right? Just have him walk through and black mask somebody.
Yeah,
listen, maybe we'll get maybe Survivor Series will roll around and there'll be, a mystery partner, and then Brother Love will come out and lead out Aleister Black.
Shut
as the
up.
mystery partner in
No.
somebody's tag team.
So I actually, Ralphie's gonna put up a picture here in a minute.
Oh God!
Because it plays back. No. This is a purely wrestling picture. It plays back to what Pete said earlier about Alexa Bliss kind of taking a Harley Quinn kind of role. Since you brought up Scarlett, I saw this on the internet earlier today, and I'm really just kind of buying time for Ralph to put the photo up. I think it's taken just a little bit of a minute here, but I want to get your
I don't
thoughts
know if
on.
he's still there. If Ralph, are you there? Because I saw A2D Radio just posted a comment
No,
that
I just-
MJ was better than Braun. So
I think somebody snuck in there and posted that for Ralphie.
You better watch out, man. He'll be putting your face on some Victoria's Secret supermodels.
But I want to get your thoughts on if they do go with this Alexa Bliss, Harley Quinn with the Fiend role, doing a program with Killer Cross and Scarlett.
I would, because I want Killer Cross as far away from Keith Lee as possible.
Why?
You don't.
I don't like them
have,
already being at each other.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like you don't have him end a 400 some odd day reign to have him lose it. And if you saw the promo he cut against Cross on NXT, You don't take that dude. You don't take the strap off that dude. Like, he made me believe, okay, whatever Killer Cross is doing, tick-tock, what. The dude said, pick a time and a place, I'm going to whoop that ass. Like, it's enough said. That's it. You don't need to say anything else. He called him out and he said, "You're bullshit" twice.
Yeah, there's the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ralph.
Finally, on time.
I think he had to recover from seeing HG Radio say the Lakers suck.
But no, in all seriousness, they're like, that promo was money on Wednesday. And like Chrome said, hopefully Dominic Dijakovic comes back as a non-finish, and then you just keep him as far as possible. You call one of them up. To me, it's very rare that I would say that somebody didn't need to go to NXT first, but if that is what we were going to get, he could have skipped NXT. He could have went straight to SmackDown, went straight to Raw. I would have even if he would have Braun first with that gimmick. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have,
yeah, but would this gimmick at the time that he debuted, would the gimmick still work knowing that the Fiend's up there? Well, and that's just purely a question. That's not me saying it wouldn't work or would work. I want to get your thoughts on that.
If he could have went to Raw doing that, and Scarlett could have came out for weeks putting out the clock in front of Drew. Something completely different. And then ultimately you have him come out against Drew. He shows his face. I mean, the dude wears a long ass trench coat. Like, I mean, come on, bro. Like a leather. I don't even know where you can buy a fucking coat like that right now.
For Pete, I love you to death, but for you and me, bro, they don't make them. They're called bed sheets.
No, I just think we're so short that I just think a regular 3/4 leather jacket is like a trench coat on us.
God it!
There's way too much that I can't see. I might never. And I love the butter in the hands, by the way.
Damn it!
This was last week all over again.
Ah!
I have to say, I don't
like that one.
I don't know that I will be.
Which one? You shouldn't like any of your faces on a female body.
I don't. No, I'm saying I don't like that picture. Some of the other stuff that's been posted tonight I've liked because it's been shots at Chrome.
I don't think.
At least it ain't Titanic all over again.
Shout out, don't give them ideas.
I don't think that I'm going to be a guest on your show again, guys, ever again after seeing this. This is pretty atrocious. Has nothing to do with my.
I need to go see Kyle O'Reilly as a therapist.
Yeah. That's good.
But no, I think he could have pulled it off. I mean, it's just different options of elevating certain guys to do certain things. Where NXT kind of being at the fact that it is 2 hours, it's probably the most concise storyline ran show for a WWE product right now. SmackDown's Raw's the worst. I mean,
Raw
every week 3 hours is just way too low. I've been saying that for years. I don't know about you guys. It's way too long.
I think it's too long right now for the whole COVID thing. I think it's too long. I mean, you can go back to 3 hours. Like you can go back to 3 hours after all this is over and blown over with. But right now, 2 hours would be just plenty.
Yeah. I think regardless, there's entirely too many hours of professional wrestling to keep up with regularly.
God, fuck.
What? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Ugh. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when you open your mouth on this show.
And there was room for two on that damn door. Whatever she was on.
Tag. There was room for two.
Listen, Pete. I've always said it. I'll
Push
never
your
let
ass
go,
out the door.
and then I let go.
So since we brought up NXT, what do you guys think of Mercedes Martinez joining the Robert Stone brand?
I like it. Yeah, I do too.
I think it's actually a right fit for that dynamic they have going on. Now they have the powerhouse to back up all the shit they've been talking.
Yep.
And have her go right at Rhea. I know they're having a number one contenders match, Rhea and Dakota Kai. Have Robert come out, talk shit, and then Mercedes has no choice but to back him up. And you get to see Mercedes and Rhea. I would love to see that.
Remind me, have we seen Chelsea on what's it, SmackDown she's on now?
No.
No, we ain't seen Chelsea since she quit the Robert Stone brand.
Okay, but she's supposed to be coming up, right?
Well, she's been on NXT. She's still on NXT, but we just haven't seen her since she quit the Robert Stone brand.
Right.
They haven't said anything. I haven't heard anything.
To the main. Yeah, no,
She's supposed to be coming
to the main roster.
I don't know how it's going to work now when your husband just debuted on AEW. So
he looks little
jacked,
little juiced up.
It's all natural though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wink.
Shit.
I can't wink, or I would.
What is it? Who was it?
I can't wink, but if I could, I would. When you said it's all natural.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I just real quick on that. I could not be less interested in a debut as I was. Well, you know what? Maybe I could be more or less interested in a debut when they brought back Ariane, who was like, wait, what?
Who?
The Cameron, the other Funkadactyl.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Who, by the way, thinks that the greatest professional wrestling match in history is Molina versus Alicia Foxx.
Shows you where her heart's at.
Oh God, I hate life.
But like, so weird. That was weird. And it was so
like of
weird.
all the people,
she just shows up, and of course she's with Nyla, so maybe she's just there to get squashed. Maybe they're giving her a nice little payday
Nyla
to get
turn
squashed.
on her or something. And then it was like no leeway. It was like, oh, somebody else picked purple, and here she comes walking in.
I couldn't give a shit about Matt Cardona, but Eddie Kingston signing there is huge, and I wish the WWE would have brought him in. That dude,
Eddie
talk about a
huge signing.
Talk about a promo machine. I mean, I know the dude's not exactly Mr. Chiseled and Cut, but he is a hell of a worker and a promo machine. That's a huge get for them. We can go back to Mercedes. I'm sorry. I couldn't go without the fact that he got signed this week. I think is really important for a dude who's been in the business as long as him. That deserved to be mentioned on one of these shows. Since I didn't have a show.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
What do you think about Dexter Lumis joining Bronson Reed at TakeOver for the North American title? Because it's going to be, 2 more matches, I think, before...
I think we're supposed to have a total of 5 people in this.
Yeah.
Is it 5? Okay.
I wouldn't mind seeing a 6th one. That whole odd man out thing kind of seems a little odd, so to speak, but
really
regardless.
Did they do 5 the first North American?
I think they did 5 the first
match?
time, yeah.
Well, so it was Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, EC. No, I think there was 6 because there was a big dude in that match. That was TakeOver New Orleans.
Was it Bobby Roode?
No. There was TakeOver New Orleans.
Was it Priest? Was it Priest?
No, it wasn't Priest either.
Hey, do you guys remember when they announced that Bobby Roode was in the AJ Styles trade and he's never showed up on television?
Right?
I thought he got released with all those releases.
No.
Okay, here we go. Adam Cole, EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream.
I said 6 for that one.
I mean, I like the package they did with Bronson Reed. I mean, Loomis, we kind of seen it. I expect Priest to win this one coming up this week.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Priest is the biggest name that you have going into it, that worries me. Because it's almost like he has to win it.
Do we know who else is going to be in it?
No, we don't.
There's been a lot of focus on Dexter Lumis. He arguably could be just as big of a name, if not a bigger name. And I think people are more invested in him than Damian Priest. I have no interest in Damian Priest. No offense to the guy, but I hate him as a heel. He's a little bit better as a face, I guess, but I just have zero interest in this guy. I don't think he has any charisma.
Right.
And to me, he's a good worker, but he has no charisma to me.
Now they could per se do a last minute triple threat match and add some of the people that have lost and maybe
like a second chance.
Yeah, try to get maybe like a big name like Gargano in there or Finn Balor.
The fact that Gargano and Balor both lost out, that's huge.
Or hell, even Ciampa.
Is Ciampa going to be back in time? Because isn't he hurt? Like legit hurt?
I ain't heard nothing on that one.
Didn't hear about him being hurt either.
Maybe
He
not.
been
Maybe I'm
tweeting.
just.
He be tweeting. I tell you that. He be putting shit
Well,
out
of
there.
course he's tweeting. That doesn't take much. Daniel Bakley says, I like how they randomly plucked Ridgeway from NXT UK to put him in the triple threat match Wednesday.
I mean, if you can get somebody extra over here, go for it.
Yeah,
Let somebody wrestle. Let them wrestle. I mean, I could see them putting him in the 5-way in the in the ladder match. So I mean,
Well, yeah, he would have to beat Priest and Lorcan, and he's in.
You know what? That's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
They need able bodies, new faces.
Yeah, they got to start rotating people through.
Honestly, I'd be okay if Dexter Lumis and Priest are your biggest names in this match. I'd be okay with that. I don't need a Gargano or any of that. I want to see what some of these guys can do on this level, on this stage, and we know the history of ladder matches in NXT has been very high quality.
Correct.
So I want to see how these guys who aren't your kind of break glass in case of emergency guys in these situations are. I want to see new names, all new names and fresh names, and I want to see them put on a classic.
We also saw the return of Undisputed Era on NXT, going back after Imperium, picking back that storyline up. Prism saying, great show, guys, in case I missed the sign-off watching the games. That's right, hockey is back tonight, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know. A lot of things are back.
I don't keep up with hockey.
Well, yeah, because never mind. What do you guys think of MVP's faction, the Hurt Business?
Oh, I love it. Me and Pete were talking about this.
Love it. I need Apollo to come back and or somebody. We need a younger piece to join. I mean, because the average age of the Hurt Business is 35 and over.
Well, yeah, because they hurt. They hurt the next day.
I don't see it being Apollo Crews. I don't know who else you would get in that faction.
Well,
I mean,
I love it. It obviously reminds me, and me and Pete actually on Lazy Booking last week. Actually, we had a deep conversation about this group with Maddie. I love this faction. It's a lot like the Beatdown Clan, which also had MVP and Lashley in TNA a couple of years ago. And Pete,
I forgot Lashley was a part of that.
Yep, and Pete had a great name of somebody who would be a legitimate fit, and be the perfect, almost like a new evolution. If you look at the way this group is built, I don't know if you remember the name you put out there, Pete. I'm not going to take credit for your stuff. So,
can I guess?
Great.
Go ahead and guess.
You each get a guess. Go ahead.
The first name that screams out to me is Ricochet.
No.
Nope. That's the one I guessed, by the way.
The one that popped up in my head first would be Velveteen Dream.
Nope.
Oh, you ain't gonna see Velveteen Dream back anymore. He's done.
No, he's done. He's done for a while. No, Ricochet. This person's better than Ricochet because he can talk on his own. And what Chrome says about evolution, really, it's like your Randy Orton. You're young. Well, he's not really young in real life, but he's fresh to the WWE universe and definitely has a singles career in front of him with many different facets because he is so versatile. My nomination was Montez Ford.
Somebody get the barbershop window ready.
Yep,
great name.
Get the barbershop window ready for Dawkins. Have him go on his way. Once they drop the straps.
I like it, but I also don't want to see the Street Profits break up. Like, that's a bittersweet one.
Who wanted to see the fucking Rockers break up? I mean, come on.
Yes. He wasn't a fan. I don't even know. Andy, what year were you born?
91. I don't think I was even born yet.
That's what I'm saying. Andy was like 1 when that happened, if that.
Homie.
Yeah.
So he don't understand, Pete, what it was like back then when the Rockers broke up. And he said, Sean, why would you do that to Marty? You guys were destined to win the tag titles. He doesn't understand that. But Pete is spot on because there's a guy there, and no disrespect to Dawkins whatsoever. But there's a guy there who has all the makings to be that next level, like Pete's talking about. And there is a guy who is destined to be mid-card at best and be the Marty Jannetty of the group. I'm sorry.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I see it.
I think Montez could be – I mean, that dude's got a Hall of Fame singles career ahead of him.
I think Montez is your breakout star of the Street Profits. I enjoy them way too damn much
I do
right
too,
now.
but that's
Like,
that's instant heat. They're at their peak. They want the smoke. Like you come out, you singing a theme song. You come out there, you whipping it, red Solo cup. What's the best way to do it when you change directions? Don't do it when everybody sees it coming. You do it when no one sees it coming. That's
no,
what we
that's
used to
fair.
get in the 80s and 90s. You feel like my man he changed direction of a frog splash in
In
midair.
the air. I know.
It didn't have to do it. He just did the shit. I mean, like I'm saying, like if you watch, in the very few cases where I watch like a ride along or something like that, Dawkins and him is completely different. Like Montez Ford, suits, 3-piece, $1,000 suits, loafers, no socks, all the time, all the time. That's what the Hurt Business is. You got MVP out there in his suit. You got Bobby Lashley muscle. You got Shelton as your older guy, and you just have him run shop. That I would love to see, but see, once again, Vince so-called doesn't believe in factions. But guess what? With the New Day, he's been making money hand over fist with merch for the last 6 years. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
How
No,
many times?
absolutely.
How many times have we seen him go back to the shit? He doesn't like factions where they just run shop and hold everything because it feels like it's too many odds. But we got the same thing right now with the Golden Role Models. They got all the women's belts. It runs through Sasha and Bayley. Now is the time, as we can see, to build characters. Like Chrome said, one of the reasons why Bayley started getting over is because you took away the live audience. You can actually hear how she was interacting. So it's those little nuances now where now these guys who pretty much came in hot, who couldn't talk, who needed the live audience, that was the only reaction. Now they're building more skills to be able to get over when we do get the live audience back. And you get somebody like the Hurt Business, and I don't know how they will pull it off. It's a two-step move, but I think in the short term and the long term, it'll pay off because ultimately you would have that kind of that rock match rate, that rock kind of that dip, that cycle where you get the heat. He's bad, but then all of a sudden he starts overshadowing because he would quickly
Overshadow
stand
them.
down,
Yes.
overshadow them, and then ultimately you can have Bobby come at you first, have Shelton come at you first, have ultimately you lead to MVP, and then maybe take the US strap off him, have him turn, maybe they battle over it, whatever, and then from there, once he's done with that, then he's off. You know what I mean? You have two stars right now, in my opinion. And Big E, if they do it, Big E's a monster heel, though. This is a crazy, ridiculous monster heel. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if people like yourself, Butters, I don't know how old you are, but what we saw, the intro to SmackDown this Friday is what we used to see all the times in the 80s and the 90s. To see Big E give that field of power, rake the face, you actually get to see the mannerisms. Like the dude has so much swag. It's through the roof. Montez is the same way, but it's really just really strapping the rocket ship to him and letting it rock. But Vince, ultimately, this is Vince. Vince got to have his hands in the pot all the time. He can't. We get it. We talk about, you guys talked about, Butters talked about cancel culture. Chrome talked about how we're in this new age where you got to keep everything fresh. And maybe what Bischoff did, 12 pay-per-views, being it was just a straight money grab. But listen, it was a money grab, but we kept tuning in. We created this monster as a fan base, and now we wanted to revert. All of us are guilty of it at some point. Maybe us four have seen it quicker than others, but it's partly our fault too. So is it fair enough to ask Vince to dial that back now after something that we helped him create and he wouldn't have kept doing it? Obviously, look at the XFL. If it's not making money, it's not something he believes in. That bitch pulled the cord quick. So
I think the XFL withstanding, right? Because I think that ran into some different problems this go around, right? I don't think that was a money thing. I think that was just a society thing.
I think the pandemic's what really killed that.
Yeah. No, Pete, you hit every single nail on the head there, right? I think that Montez would be a great addition to that group, and he would be that breakout star. It would almost be like what the Nation did for The Rock.
Yep.
This could do for Montez, right? As far as Big E goes, I like the fact that he's now getting his push. I think he should be the monster heel We talked about it at length when we heard the rumors that the New Day was going to break up. We knew that Big E was going to be that one, that the monster heel. Kofi was going to be the face, and no one was sure where Xavier was really going to land.
I do. Me and Chrome do.
Well, yeah,
Andy does too. Butters
Yeah.
is the only one who's not in it, and I'm not gonna spoil it. We're not gonna spoil it. If anyone wants to go on Twitter and find the decoded voice clips, that's on you. I'm not gonna be the guy on the air to spoil it, especially because we were talking about this before we went on the air, Pete. The rumor was they were killing it, getting rid of the storyline, just kind of dropping it. However, they had the interference on the show again this week during the Sonya and Mandy.
Yep.
So I think that there's a little bit of hope, and I almost wonder with the situation that's going on, and I'm having a hard time because I don't want to spoil it.
Right.
There's a situation going on right now that was created by certain circumstances that they said, maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the time to capitalize on this. Let's start pushing somebody that we've had discussions about, and let's see what's going to happen.
Very possible. Very possible. I don't hate. Speaking of hackers, where's ours been?
Who?
Right.
He's watching the Lakers probably.
Ah.
But it's been eerily quiet, boys and girls.
Yeah, we've had so Pete. I don't know if you've been paying attention the last couple months.
Maybe he disappeared, and maybe he's rubbing one out to Bailey right now.
Yeah, God.
No, if it's who I think it is, he's rubbing one out to Nia Jax.
I'm here.
Hi, Ralphie.
Nia Jax, really?
Big booty girl Nia.
He wants to be. He's rubbing one out to the triple threat. Him, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. There you go.
No,
Up.
It's that chick from AEW from Wednesday night.
Oh, Abaddon.
Abaddon, yeah.
That's
Which
Randy's girl.
I do got to give a shout out. A buddy of mine's. So he's in a band. The name's the Covalescence. A member of that band actually helped put together her theme song for Wednesday night.
Really?
So I have to give a shout out to them and what they did to put that together. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, her gimmick is what they do with it. I mean, we sit here and talk about WWE's dropping the ball. I mean, AEW
never picked it up with some of these characters.
No way Orange Cassidy should have lost to Jericho at that point. At all.
Correct.
No way.
I don't understand. I love Jericho. We all do. I don't understand why Jericho is still winning all of the time. He doesn't need it.
Nope.
He doesn't need it. It drives
me crazy. He doesn't
even
need to really rep. I love it when he's on commentary.
Yeah, he needs to start to make that transition.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, right?
What, man? I'll take him. If I could get him on AEW every week and get rid of JR, that old fuck, and if I could go on WWE and continue to have Samoa Joe on Raw and Corey Graves on SmackDown, I'm in. I'm good. I
wonder how long
hey man,
JR sucks comment.
JR was good in his prime, but I agree. Maybe now would be the time to.
I don't know, man.
JR out of there.
I saw that go in a completely different direction. I saw you two fighting now.
I'm gonna be the guy who's gonna say it, buddy. In hindsight now, because I'm still hearing the same old bullshit from JR. Except for now, he cries about it not being called cake face because he likes cake. Why do we call it pie face? I'm over JR. I'm done with him.
Wait.
You never saw that?
You said cake. You said cake. I mean, Andy's got to react.
Fuck you, Butters.
That's true. You're right. Hey, good point out of you.
He needs a moment.
Says the guy whose name's after literal food.
On an episode of AEW like 2 or 3 months ago, Statlander, whatever her name is, I can't think of people's names right now.
Chris Statlander.
Chris
the alien
Statlander.
chick.
They were doing a thing, and I can actually send you the video. It's terrible. I can actually send you a video because I recorded it on my phone while I have the TV. It was so terrible. But I think Excalibur says, "Oh, she pie-faced her," and he goes, "Pie-faced? Why they call it pie face? Why can't they call it cake face? I love cake. I'm like, what the fuck?
That sounds like a
fuck.
king. That sounds like a king moment.
AEW is, I don't know. I mean, I'm.
You talk about WWE not loving factions, and then AEW loves them to a fault.
Too much.
But
They love too many factions. They love too many managers. I mean, look, we got Vicky Guerrero, Nyla Rose's manager. Like one
That
too
did
many
nothing for
managers, huh?
Hey, I know what I need. Everybody around here has a manager. I know what I need. Not like I wasn't just the women's champion without a manager. I need a manager. So then I'm going to go out and get Vicky Guerrero. I don't know. I mean, I love Vicky.
it just goes back to not being able to. It goes back to not being able to properly develop the characters.
And you know what? They're not even developed their own managers. We got to go back and we got to go into the WWE, toss away bag.
Very well
said.
said.
What it is.
It's
we got
WCW
Arn, we got Vicky.
light.
It's not just professional wrestlers, guys. These managers need to develop. Look at what we've seen with Zelina Vega over the pandemic, right? The growth that we've seen. Somebody that's been their own.
She's gotten amazing.
Yeah, she's been awesome. So why can't AEW do the same thing and develop their own people? I'm not saying don't ever grab a free agent, but
like 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was Zelina Vega was on almost every segment of Raw.
Yep.
Right?
I agree. Yep.
But then you have Zelina Vega, who arguably right now is the best manager on active TV. Paul Heyman's in a class of his own, right? I think Zelina Vega is the best manager on TV right now.
Hold on, is Paul Heyman really in the class of his own?
For my argument, I'm saying he is.
I was about to say you're asking a huge Paul Heyman mark, so I mean,
it's my argument, and as the Jew on the screen, and I'm putting the Jew in the other category.
I mean, if Andy could have his own fantasy booking, he would have the Undertaker managed by Paul Heyman and be in fucking heaven.
The Undertaker is not as many syllables as Brock Lesnar. So
the Undertaker, but still, I digress. Andy would be in freaking wrestling heaven, sitting there eating his cake and ice cream at the same time while watching these two get it on in the ring.
Ice cream cake's good. You leave that alone.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I am right when I say
a man on this screen. There ain't a man in this chat that would turn down a piece of ice cream cake.
No. But still, you would be in heaven if your fantasy booking would have Paul Heyman managing the Undertaker, even though we all know he don't need it. But still,
even Ralph gets it. Thank you, Ralph.
I love ice cream cake. What you talking about?
Anywho, right?
Now I want some ice cream cake.
If there's anything that Ralph loves, it's ice cream cake, and it's the Undertaker. The only thing he's ever got. Every time he produces a show.
Hey, don't forget Nia.
We talking the Undertaker tonight, or?
So since Ralph, here's the other thing that Ralph loves.
Tommy, I will say that he's only.
Here's the other thing that Ralph loves. Every Saturday, since Ralph has produced my show, I get the Saturday. It's Saturday, Andy. You know what that means. And I get the "It's Still Real to Me, Damn It" video every week from Ralph.
It's still real to me, damn it.
If he doesn't do it, I'm like, wow, this show's gonna suck tonight.
Ralph, I'm doing it to myself, but this is for you. I'll give you the pat on the back on that one. Well done.
Little horror.
It is still real to Andy.
Fuck you, Chrome.
I say it to you all the time. I know, Andy. It's still real to you. We get it.
Shut up.
Pete's in that chat.
Nia Jax can wrestle, goddammit.
But moving on, right? We kind of fell off the rails there for a minute. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre.
Unbelievable promo.
Fantastic.
Promo was
great.
But with Randy kind of doing this whole legend killer vibe again, is it right for him to turn his sights on Drew right now?
I think, honestly, I think they wanted that one big match for SummerSlam. They need a big hype match, and Randy Orton for the title's the main thing to do. And then you can go back to having your other matches after SummerSlam. They just want a high profile match. Drew versus Orton, it would be their high profile match.
Build a different high profile match.
They can't. That's the problem.
They are building to it. No, they are building to
Well, technically they are building. So like Butters, to get your thoughts, you sound like Orton's not going over.
No, I don't see it. I mean, I could, but I feel like with this whole Legend Killer thing, I feel like Orton's they just want that big name to take on Drew.
Does he need to go over?
No. God, no.
Randy Orton is going to go all over fucking Drew in this match, and they're going to lead this into a program that's eventually going to lead. It's going to be an Orton title run to WrestleMania, where you get Orton versus Edge for the title at WrestleMania. Book it now.
I don't hate it, right? Don't get me wrong, I don't hate it. But to Chrome's point, last time on Lazy Booking, they talked about how this, and Pete, you were on that show, I think, too.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best Randy Orton we've ever gotten.
Well, I said that. Pete, on the other hand,
no. I wasn't saying that Pete said that. I said that Pete was on the show.
That was
right?
the topic.
Yeah.
That was the topic.
Right. The topic was Randy Orton and how this is the best Randy Orton that we've ever gotten. Is it the right time to set his sights on the title? I know that, right, Chrome, yes. It builds to Edge, but is it the right person at the right time?
I will tell you, you guys can tell me your thoughts on this. I think as weeks and pass, I'm not saying that we can't see the long-term potential for Drew, but I believe that Drew needs a crowd. I don't think that he is benefiting very much from the empty arena stuff.
Correct.
I think on the flip side, if anything, my stance from Lazy Booking in terms of when we had our Randy Orton discussion is that much more confirmed when I see the promo that he cut this week, when I see the RKO that he hit out of nowhere at the end of the show, when he bookended that show. This is the time right now for me to put the title on Randy, give him a run. He's hot now, as hot as he's been in years. And I think that you revisit Drew as champion because the money's in the chase. That's when you really, truly build the best faces as well.
Correct.
Because I think he's going to be a face in this company. That's when you build them the most. It's in the chase. It's not as the champion. We saw Shawn Michaels as champion, and the company didn't make very much money then. It wasn't a big highlight from Shawn, the first title run that he had. But look at Austin on the flip side. The money was always in the chase until he could finally get that moment. Drew didn't truly have that moment. They're going to wait for a crowd, and they're going to give Drew that secondary moment again. And I think that right now, I think they're realizing that there's a little more character development that needs to happen for Drew right now. I just don't think I love him. I think long term, he's one of the top 5 factors in WWE going forward. Top 5 players. But as for right now, I think he's exposed a lot. I think it's getting lame. And I don't think they want to see that. So I think that we absolutely are going to see a shift here.
Well, that's great. There's no show next week.
What?
That was our hacker. Our hacker decided to come back, and apparently
the bottom
right of the screen said next week, but I'm in Vegas next week. There's no damn show.
Oh, okay. No, so
I guess Ralphie's hosting in this very ring next week.
Oh God!
Oh God!
Oh no! It's gonna be 2 hours of the Undertaker.
So, look here, Ralphie May. No, sir.
what are we saying? Orton goes over on Drew just to get to Edge? Because what would we do if Edge isn't there? And I second that by saying also, is it worth Orton going over to cut Drew because of who he just beat and the way he beat him with no crowd to get the belt?
I don't think it cuts Drew at all. I think Drew's going to continue to be a player as things move along.
Okay.
I don't know if because I don't even know if Edge wins at WrestleMania next year. But I think that when you get that third match, because Edge is going to be out for a while, probably might even be past some Survivor Series. At that point, I see them making the third installment of this feud being a WrestleMania match. But regardless, right now, I'm sorry. I think Orton is hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, the most compelling character by far on Monday Night Raw over anybody else.
I mean, I agree with you there.
Yes.
But I'm saying, I think too, honestly, if you're looking at how are we gonna get through this right now? Because we don't know when they're gonna have crowds. I think realistically, guys, I don't think we get crowds until at least the end of 2021, probably 2022. I think we've talked about that. You need to, at this point, find people who are going to be able to get you through this situation. And I think Randy Orton is the right kind of guy that can go long term. I think Edge can be that guy as well. So
correct.
I don't think Drew is that guy right now.
I gotta agree with that. I mean,
I don't disagree with you there. I just don't know if I would do it with Orton.
They miss Roman really bad.
Oh yeah, you could tell the impact
with Roman. And don't get me wrong, right? The void that Roman kind of left is very much lingering, right? But is Roman one of those people that would be able to do well without a crowd?
Yeah, I think he'd be fine.
Yeah, he could do without a crowd because you wouldn't have to hear him booing him, every damn day of the week.
Yeah, and then
I mean, he'd be able to cut a promo without hearing being drowned out by 10 a million boos in the crowd, whereas anybody in the current crowd boos when Vince is going to be like, get him out of here, I don't want him anymore. He's not cheering my guy on.
I mean, I thought he was fine in the brief little taste that we had leading up to WrestleMania. I thought the character was even stronger.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem with that is, again, the crowd isn't behind him. They feel like this is John Cena 2.0, or anytime we actually get a superstar that, we want them, like y'all said earlier, to push, all of a sudden it becomes, no, we don't want him anymore. This is John Cena again. This is this again. We're going to get this too much. Like, give it up. They're going to push it down.
Go ahead, Butters.
They're going to keep pushing it regardless. If he sells, he sells.
I mean, I think they missed the opportunity. We talked about MVP in the Hurt Business. Mm-hmm. They missed the opportunity, and Chrome just said the money is in the chase. They missed the opportunity to me when they started early with the whole MVP Lana Lashley, to where it was Lashley versus Drew. If you have MVP help Lashley win it, and now could you imagine what we're getting with MVP and Lashley as a champion and have Drew chase? Because to me, I feel like what we're seeing with Orton is he's going to be put in that position just out of necessity, because he's grown his character so much and he's fired right now. But at the same time, it's almost like a part of me wishes that it's almost like he's forced to be the champion right now because everybody else can't step up their game. It's not grabbing their attention.
But again, it doesn't matter that he's Randy Orton and he's been around as long as he has. It's all about who's going to step up when you need people to step up now. So to me, is it a necessity? It's always a necessity. Who's going to make sure that we have the best program going forward? And right now, it's Randy Orton.
Yeah,
whether he's been with the company for 18 years or he's a guy who's been with the company for 2. Right now, that's your hottest guy by far, and the guy who's proven to, in my opinion, to be the standard bearer during this pandemic situation. Everything is different. Times change. The Attitude Era was Austin. You know what I mean? This might become something called the pandemic era, honestly.
Yeah,
It
no,
might
I
be its
agree.
own thing. And
Yeah.
at the time, Steve Austin, I don't think Steve Austin would have worked in the 80s or the early 90s, the new generation. But it worked for the Attitude Era. In the situation it is now, Randy Orton is emerging as your best possible candidate. And I think Edge could too, because Edge has proven that he can, he's got to stay healthy, but that he can be a guy who, look at the character work he did coming back, the promos that he cut, the brutality that we saw in interactions.
I
You
think
got to go
Drew.
with who's going to be your best characters, guys.
Right. I think Drew works better, in that chase, because to Chrome's point, the chase is the money's in the chase, and Daniel Bakley says the chase for Kofi was money, right? For Kofi to win the belt at 35 35, right? That
Yep.
entire run, because I was there in Houston when he almost won the Elimination Chamber, and what the energy like was there. Chrome, you and I were there at MetLife when he won the title. I think Drew does better when he's fighting for the title. When he gets the title and doesn't have the crowd, it falls flat. I think this is a different run if crowds are involved.
My only thing is the way, I guess, I agree with, I can see avenues where I can agree with all your points. But I just look at the way Orton's been booked so far. He's been booked as a dominant heel, where Drew's been booked as a dominant face. So when you say the money is in the chase for Drew, it's not like it where Kofi was, okay, you had Rowan with Bryan. It was kind of not the same build, didn't wrestle the same manners. And also we got to take into account how Drew has beaten every obstacle and retain his title. So if you take it off of him, you can't do it I can't believe that Drew can't physically do it again. Like he can't beat Drew, because if you put Orton and Drew in the alley and you let them fight, Drew's a big son bitch. And that Claymore is no joke. I can say the RKO is a wrestling move, bitch. That Claymore kick, some UFC bitches get knocked out with that. It's a totally different ballgame.
That's a kick to the face. That's a straight kick to the face. You ain't
right.
You ain't fixing to tell me that I got kicked in the face. I'm good to go. Let's do this again.
No, and that's so like at that point when Orton does have it, do you completely just take Drew away? Do you have him Orton win SummerSlam, punt Drew goes away? Because like if you have, or at that point,
maybe
if they do that, I'm cool. That's because that's the only way you can't. Like I can't see Drew and Orton being on the same show.
But give Drew that time off.
But again though, Pete, I'm gonna go back to Shawn Michaels. When Shawn Michaels and the boyhood dream came true.
Yes.
We all love Shawn Michaels, but let's look at how his career went, right? It fell flat. The company, he did a great job in terms of the in-ring work as a champion and whatnot, but it didn't produce the results that the company needed at the time. However, he was able to recover from that, and his greatest years were still ahead of him. We had the DX years. We had I'm going for, 5 or 7 years, and then comes back, and it's like he didn't skip a beat. There's no
2001 Survivor Series, bitch.
This isn't going to kill Drew McIntyre, drop the title to Randy Orton, one of the greatest of all time, at a time where he is still working at his very best.
Mm-hmm.
That's the argument that I have. You have the guy who, right now, in my opinion, almost needs to be the representative of the company in terms of the title, and then allow Drew to, if he's knocked out and he's away for a while and then he comes back, or he needs to kind of start from scratch and start the chase again and rebuild that way. To me, it's totally different, but it's just not working now. And it's the same thing with Michaels back then. It didn't work that first run.
So I love the idea, Pete, of Drew dropping the title to Orton, getting punted and going away.
Yes.
Right?
I'm into that. I like that.
Where I think you play it off as so now let's take that idea and let's kind of combine it with Chrome's idea of Orton holding the belt till WrestleMania. I don't see Orton Edge happening at Mania for the title. Now with Pete's idea, I see Drew going away, coming back right after Survivor Series, right? And he's on the hunt again. But he's more vicious now than he was. It's almost like you take the
Right.
Scottish psychopath, make it a face character, and roll with that. He wins the Rumble again.
I don't think you do back-to-back Rumble wins with him.
I got to tell you, if you read anything about Los Angeles, I don't think WWE expects to have a crowd next year for WrestleMania again. So I don't think that you get Drew McIntyre with the title on himself again until they get close to having a crowd.
And because I just made that point just a moment ago, right? How this title run's very different with crowds. I'm going on the assumption that maybe there are crowds by then. If there are no crowds, then yes, I definitely think you get Edge and Orton at WrestleMania again.
Everything that's been, and I'm talking about even just looking at Los Angeles and not WWE, I would not expect WrestleMania to take place in Los Angeles next year. I would expect it to take place at the Performance Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we don't have
Unless
a vaccine
something drastic happens.
If we don't have a vaccine by then, or if maybe by then we'll build up immune system, something. Unless we have any of that, we're still shutting down, opening up, shutting down. I agree. We're not going to have the crowds. We're not going to get back into these things like that.
I agree with it all.
So let's kind of transition right into the run-in for the last 10 minutes of the show here. I read an article earlier today that said WWE may do it. Shut up. That again, I was productive today. You did diddly shit.
It's called vacation, Andy.
I went to Disney.
You go to Disney like 15 times a year. You go to Disney more than Brodo goes golfing.
I was at the Magic Kingdom. I rode Pirates of the Caribbean today in Space Mountain, Ric Flair Mountain. I was very productive.
Pirates is actually a really good
Weaponized Ric Flair, woo!
Fuck you. That WWE is thinking of doing a draft right before Survivor Series.
That only works if you stay to it, though. You stick to it. That's the thing.
And I just read something today that they're looking at not even doing the draft anymore.
I didn't see that, but maybe not. I don't like the idea that we got to draft every year, every other year at this point. I think it's kind of annoying. What I would say, though, right? So if that is a possibility, we're talking about Drew. Maybe Drew is the guy who then takes out the Fiend. And you're talking about how do we rebuild his stock? Let's give the Fiend a good run for however many months. And maybe the build is to get Drew to WrestleMania against the Fiend.
That's not a bad idea.
And that's the play.
I agree with that, but the same thing that we're saying about the payoff with Drew in front of a live audience, we can legitimately say the same shit for Braun. Fiend take it off of Braun. Fiend plays well with no crowd, and you get your payoff with Braun winning in front of a live audience. I mean, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Ralph, put that comment up that Daniel just said, if you don't mind, please, sir. Daniel says, rumor has it Drew and Bray could switch shows.
I mean, it'd give them both, a little bit more something to do. We could have, Fiend versus Orton, Fiend versus, unfortunately, Fiend versus Rollins again, potentially. And then Drew versus Braun, Drew versus AJ, Drew versus Matt Riddle. I mean, the possibilities are endless with those two switching brands. At least with Drew going to SmackDown, that would be nicer than Drew being on Raw right now, in my opinion.
True. I'll take it. Go ahead, Butters.
You have a lot more talent that Drew could really work with on SmackDown.
And I will say this, take it a step further. Fiend gets the strap. He can do whatever. He stays on SmackDown, goes to Raw. This time around, Fiend only comes out when he needs it. I want to have Bray wrestle with the title. Have both. There's no reason why Sweater Bray can't defend the championship. He technically is all the same person. That way, he still has a title, still has a run, but you still protect the Fiend, because that's the last time with him having the strap late last year. That was a problem. Every time we saw him defend the strap, he was as the Fiend. That's what hurt the Fiend. So now you have a built-in way where we've seen Bray Wyatt
kind of like Finn and the Demon,
right? Yep. But now you just have it with the champion to where any personality of Bray Wyatt can defend the title if he has a strap.
Freebird rule.
Did he have? Yeah. Did he have
Foley.
One defense against the Miz as Bray Wyatt?
No, I don't think it was for the title.
Was that a defense?
It originally started out, because I think I know what you're talking about. It originally started out as a title match. And then very, very quietly, they changed it to a non-title match.
Yep.
Okay. Because I know that there was a match in between. I remember him coming
because that was
out
TLC.
with the blue belt.
That was TLC this past year, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was supposed to be title, and then it became non-title because stupid reasons. And
now you don't have to do that. Now do the same. You can still do the same thing. They've already tried it. Sounds like they got scared and they pulled the title. Like if it was for the title, non-title, Miz wasn't going over. We all know that.
No.
You still could. He's damn on the verge of Dolph Ziggler status right now. I can't fucking win a match.
What do you guys think of Grand Metalik and AJ on yesterday?
I think Metalik could have. They could have, let Metalik have the title. I think Metalik, it's his time to shine.
No. I will say he looked good, but not good enough to win the title. Absolutely not.
And then you did him no favors when then you put him in the backstage segment with Lance Dorado, whatever the other one's name is,
Lindsay,
and trying to go after the tag team titles. Why? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you just wrestled AJ in a great match for the Intercontinental title, tapped out. Now all of a sudden Nakamura and Cesaro is having their tag team celebration party, and now we see Lucha House Party again. What? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, what status are you trying? Are you trying to keep them as a team? Or are you trying to build them as a single star? What are you doing?
I mean, we're talking about Lucha House Party here. Like, no offense, guys, but we're talking about someone from Lucha House Party to go over AJ Styles. And I like Metalik. I mean, he's proven to be a great worker over the last, but
I just wanted to see what you guys' thoughts on the match were. I didn't think he was going to come at me with, "Oh, he should have won the title."
Yeah,
I wasn't on me off guard. I didn't see that happening. I apologize. That one's on me.
The match was good. It was a good match. I mean, Metalik has been really solid over the last couple weeks. No offense to Kalisto, but the Kalisto act is kind of pretty old. I think it's helping these two guys by having him out of that, or at least not around.
I agree.
So, and maybe these guys will develop. It's all going to depend on, are we going to have our next generation's Rey Mysterio, or are we going to put an actual emphasis just on the lucha wrestling style altogether? Are we just looking for Rey's replacement, or are we going to recognize these guys for the talent they have and the style that they have and give them an opportunity?
Because it sure as hell ain't going to be Dominic. I can tell you that. I don't know where that kid grew on the damn tree at. Well, God dang.
I wouldn't mind seeing more emphasis put on the lucha than I would just, a Rey Mysterio replacement.
But see,
correct.
The thing with the whole lucha is they can't talk. You need to be able to cut a promo at some point in time or get a mouthpiece. And mouthpieces for faces just does not work in today's age.
This is the difference, and this is where I'll knock Vince, in that Vince's impression of lucha wrestling is Rey Mysterio, and that's it. So everybody is Rey's replacement. It's not like WCW where Bischoff was like, yo, let's roll out Hoovy and Psychosis and La Parka. Fucking love La Parka, by the way.
Yes.
And Villano 4 and Villano 5 and all those different lucha wrestlers back in the day. Let's showcase the style and let them develop and grow, as a talent. For him, it's, well, Rey Mysterio is lucha wrestling, so everybody's got to be Rey or you don't get time. And that's the problem.
Look at all these so-called attempts at replacements. Sin Cara, Botchfest, Alberto Del Rio. crybaby idiot.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Criminal.
They've tried time and time again to get different Ray replacements. It's not going to happen. Nobody can replace Ray. He's his own person.
Right.
So it's like,
if you're gonna highlight the style. Don't try to find Ray's replacement.
Don't highlight the person, highlight the
ever
style.
get
Yeah.
over.
Correct.
None of these guys will get over. Ever.
All right, boys. Favorite moment of the week, and then we're gonna get out of here. Pete, let's start with you. Favorite wrestling moment of the week.
Oh my God. In-ring action. Obviously, the last 10 minutes of what we saw on SmackDown last night. Promo. I gotta give it to Keith Lee. I mean, it's Keith Lee and MJF. It's those two.
I haven't watched the MJF promo yet. I was heard it was good, but I've been working all day, and it got sent to me midday. I haven't watched it yet.
But that and the Keith Lee one for the spot to be able to go at the guy that's running through everybody. And then I will say this before William Regal didn't give him the match.
Correct.
Remember that. He did. He said, "You just don't go around asking for shit and going to get it. That's not how it's going to work." So,
correct.
And I'll say that.
Chrome.
Yeah, I mean, for my in-ring would be the same, but just in the interest of throwing something different out there, to me, it's the same guy and it's the bookends. It's Randy Orton's promo to open Raw, and his RKO out of nowhere to shut it down and take out Drew. So,
Butters.
I gotta say the women's title match on Raw. I mean, I actually like granted, as much as I hate to see the farewell for Kyra being that BS, but I kind of liked it in general.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with everything. Right, Keith Lee's probably like taking Alexa Bliss out of it because I think that's a hands down winner. I got to agree with the Keith Lee. But I don't know. I really liked Matt Cardona coming out on AEW. I know that's weird, but I really, really liked it because there was actually like watching the whole segment back. It wasn't like some of these other debuts where it was very obvious that person was coming. Right? This one, there was Hold on. Calm yourself down. Okay?
I'll give you say like compared
from
to
a commentary perspective.
Like
from a commentary perspective, and I think it's because JR didn't say a damn word. It was all Shivani. Right? Shivani actually played it off as, "Oh wow, he's actually really here." So that
JR probably didn't even know who he was.
The sad part is that sounds so true. That's the bad part is it sounds about 100% right.
JR probably fucking signed him 15 years ago and still doesn't know who he is.
All right, guys. Well, that is it for us tonight. I got to give a big thank you to Pete Evans and Michael Chromiak for joining us here on In This Very Ring. We were brought to you by our doc, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Check them out at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Also, Ambuck Services. They are the gutter and deck restoration experts of South Jersey. 856-879-5530. QB54, play QB54.com. The best tailgating game in the business. And then you got the best apparel in the business at Philly Drinkers, LLC, phillydrinkers.com. You got your In This Very Ring shirt, the HUD hat, the Lazy Booking shirt, the Birds of a Feather shirt, the Fix, all of it, Swing Trunks, QB Factory, you name it, guys. There's like 50 products out there. Check them out. Check out the collection and get your gear today. I'm Ritz. That's Butters. No show next week. I'll be in Vegas. We'll be back the week after to recap an ungodly amount of hopefully good pro wrestling. We thank Ralph Del Vecchio in the back for coming back from vacation and producing for us and putting up with us for the last 2 hours. God help us all. And we'll see y'all next week. We're out of here.
Peace.